Fact: nutrition facts labels can be intimidating, especially when they're facts. Who wants to read, look at percentages, and do math when you're just trying to eat? Not to mention ingredient lists that are a solid paragraph and are half filled with words that you don't even know. It's way easier to just eat. Let's make it more simple and more straight up. Facts about nutrition facts. A quick overview. The nutrition facts label is a label that is required on most packaged foods. The Food and Drug Administration breaks it down into 4 sections: serving information, calories, nutrients, and percentage of daily value. Serving information will tell you how many total servings are in the package or container and what is considered one single serving. Now listen close, this is important. All of the information below the serving section reflects only one serving, not the whole container. So if you're eating multiple servings, you're going to have to do some math if you want to figure out exactly what you're eating. Serving sizes are not recommendations, but they're supposed to be standardized so that we can compare similar foods. The serving size will be listed in cups or pieces, as well as its metric amount, usually grams. If you actually measured out what a single serving was of some of the things you eat, you might be surprised at how little it actually is. It may be very different of what you actually eat of that food or product. Some food and drink products also look like they would just be a single serving, but they actually contain multiple servings on the nutrition facts label. I would personally try to be aware of 2 things for this section of a food label. 1, it is often easy to eat or drink more than a single serving. 2, some food and drink products that seem like they would be a single serving often contain multiple servings. The second section on a nutrition facts label is calories. Calories are simply just a measurement of energy from food. Most should know by now that consuming excess calories is linked to being overweight. A very general guide states that people should be consuming around 2,000 calories a day, but it is only a guide and it's not perfect. In reality, how many calories you should be consuming a day largely depends on your age, height, weight, sex, and physical activity levels. Someone who is overweight and is trying to lose weight may choose to count their calories or reduce their total calories they have per day, where someone with high amounts of physical activity may need additional calories to replace the ones they burn. Referring to calories on nutrition labels is dependent on personal characteristics and their health goals. Meaning, some people may always want to look at how many calories they're eating, and others may not ever worry about it. The third section on a food label is nutrients. As you might have guessed, this has to do with essential nutrients and the amounts that are found in the food or drink. While food labels do not divide carbohydrates by simple and complex, they do list total carbohydrates and further separate them by dietary fiber, good, total sugar, and added sugar, bad. Similarly, you will find fat listed as total and then divided by saturated and trans fat, bad, as well as monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, good. You will also find cholesterol, the common mineral sodium, which is salt, and protein. Lastly, you will find additional vitamins and minerals contained in the product listed as their percentage of daily value and sometimes listed in milligrams as well. My recommended uses for the nutrients section is to check for and limit consumption of products that are high in trans fats and saturated fats and sugars, especially added sugars. The last section on a nutrition facts label is the percentage of daily value. It shows the percentage of the daily value for each nutrient. What does that mean? The FDA states that 5% or less of daily value is considered low and 20% or more of your daily value is high. So if you eat something that contains 40% of your daily value in fat, then that food product has very high levels of fat. To be completely honest, I don't know too many people who pay close attention to percentage of daily value, and I personally don't. After some practice and habit, you might start to notice some trends in the metric amounts of nutrients. Example being, something with 4 grams of sugar is very different than 40 grams of sugar. So you'll start to understand how many grams of sugar or fat or calories is on the low end, the medium, or the high end. Some nutrients are not even listed with the percentage of daily value, and that presents its own problems. But that may need to be a video of its own. The final thing I want to bring up is not technically part of a nutrition facts label, but it falls in the same place on food products: ingredients. While we go over tips for making quick and simple uses of food labels, I think it's also important to touch on how ingredient lists work. If you didn't know this next thing, it's pretty big. Ingredient lists are ordered by weight or by what the product contains the most. So whatever comes first, that product has the most, and whatever is last, it has the least. So here's some simple rules to make healthier choices for ingredient lists. If a product has a full paragraph of ingredients, it's more likely that it's highly processed. If the ingredient list is much shorter, it's likely that it's less processed. The more you know what the ingredients are or where they come from is another hint that it's probably less processed. Sugars and preservatives often have names that sound pretty scientific. If sugar, a type of syrup, or anything that ends in ose, O-S-E, like fructose, glucose, or dextrose, is one of the first three ingredients, it means that that food or drink is probably pretty sweet and has a lot of sugar. Keep in mind that some people may use nutrition facts labels more in depth or more specifically if they have special dietary needs. But if you're just learning to use them to start eating healthier, remember the difference between servings per container and serving size. Try to look around for food and drink products that have less total ingredients and have listed ingredients that are understandable to you. Do your best to find food and drinks that limit unhealthy fats and carbohydrates or added sugars, and have higher amounts of healthful nutrients like fiber, protein, and healthy fats. You don't have to read a label every time you want to drink or eat something, but I encourage you to start checking out the nutrition facts labels of the things you eat and drink frequently, just out of curiosity. Let me know if you found this helpful and what you might want to know more of. Those are the facts, straight up.